GPT-5 just dropped and this changes everything. Again. Or does it? Not really. I've poked around and had a look at some of the new features, and I gotta say, when you take all the hype into account, it's kind of underwhelming. Maybe it's a big step up if you're a programmer or developer, but I'm not. So for someone who deals with marketing and copywriting, this is not really a massive upgrade. Especially when you consider that the features that actually got me excited didn't receive nearly as much attention and fanfare as this new model. So I'll go over those features in just a bit to show you how I think those actually did change the game and how they actually deserved getting all the praise that this new model gets. But first, let's go over what's new in GPT-5. Overall, the model has become better, faster, and cheaper. But that's pretty much standard when you iterate on a product. It's also great when you get a new macOS update or when you get the latest iPhone model, but it's usually not a game changer like it's hyped up to be. Of course, the developers and manufacturers have to say that because it is their product and they have to sell it. But from my point of view, there isn't a huge difference from what you were able to do before with ChatGPT and what you can do now. And from what I've seen in various YouTube videos on this new model, some of the outputs are actually worse. For example, when it comes to graphic design. And it's also a bit annoying as a user that you can't really choose to test the different models like you were able to do before. Now they got rid of all those and you just have access to ChatGPT 5. And if you want to pay more money, you can get ChatGPT 5 Pro. So you're not really able to test the difference in functionality, which I think is a drawback. But without further ado, let's ask ChatGPT 5 the question that is on everyone's lips. Now that ChatGPT 5 is out, does this change everything? Let's see what it says. Okay, change everything is the kind of hype people shout right before they realize their life is exactly the same, except now their to-do list has a new font. Well, that's a refreshingly sober answer from GPT 5 itself. And there's a reason for that, which I'm going to get into in just a minute, but let's see what else it has to say. ChatGPT 5 isn't a magic button that turns you into a genius, billionaire, or Scandinavian interior designer. It's more like a sharper scalpel. It can make cleaner cuts faster and on more types of material, but you still need a steady hand and a clue about where to slice. Which is kind of going back to what I've always said about ChatGPT. If you don't know how to prompt it properly, your output will most likely suck. Garbage in, garbage out. Yes, it's better at context, reasoning, and following complex instructions without hallucinating like it just inhaled glue. That's funny. Now here's the interesting part for me. If you want, I can lay out exactly what has changed in GPT-5 that you could weaponize for your copywriting, YouTube, and client acquisition without the marketing fluff. That's where this gets interesting. Now notice that it still uses the word fluff to excess. Before we go in to see how it can help me achieve my goals, I just wanted to touch on the two things that I thought were really cool. And that is the memory function and its ability to reference earlier chats. Now my ChatGPT answer will differ slightly from yours because of the way I've used it and the way I've instructed it to interact with me. So that's how it knows how to be slightly sarcastic, and also it knows what my goals are, and that is extremely useful. So let's say, great, tell me the new ways in which you can help me achieve my goals. Okay, let's go over it. Context memory that's actually useful. It still uses the word actually too much. You can throw entire docs, competitor analyses, and multi-step briefs at me without forgetting what we're talking about halfway through. Well, that's actually not a new feature because it was able to do that before via ChatGPT projects. Okay, better reasoning equals fewer AI dumb moments. I can now handle your messy half-baked ideas and still turn them into something structured. Again, it was able to do that before with ChatGPT 4, so not really a new feature. What else do we have? True multi-source integration. I can merge info from your past chats, uploaded files, web searches, and fresh data all in one answer. Again, this was something it was able to do before, so not a new feature. More agent mode capabilities. Think less chatbot and more intern who works for coffee and never sleeps. Automate repetitive steps in outreach, follow-ups, and content scheduling. That could be interesting, but how? Run research loops where I keep digging until I've found the angles worth using. I think it was still able to do that with agent mode. Better creative constraint handling. I can respect your exact style rules without drifting off script. Yeah, again, it was able to do that before. Long form plus short form mastery in one thread. We don't need to jump between chats to go from deep research to punchy headlines to social media snippets. Again, it was able to do that before as well. So this means that apart from the different agent mode abilities, which it might have been able to do before this upgrade actually, because I didn't use it that much, this is not news at all. But okay, let's go over some of the new features. If you go into customize ChatGPT, you'll see that there is a new feature called personality. What personality should ChatGPT have? I have already picked cynic. which is critical and sarcastic, just the way I like it. Now, I haven't played around with many of these, but it doesn't really matter because the actual answer you're going to get from ChatGPT is the same, just delivered in a slightly different way. So is it game changing? Not really. Now, another feature is the accent color. If you go into the settings under general, you'll see that you have a different accent color. And because I am a Plus user, I get access to the purple color. And if I want to pay $200 a month, I can get a cool black color. But again, this is like an aesthetic choice and it doesn't really impact how you use ChatGPT at all. So is it game changing? Not really. Then we have this option here, which is called Study and Learn. Teach me how to be a copywriter. Okay, so it does give me a few tips and it suggests some exercises we can do. But again, I'm not really sure this is a game-changing feature because you were already able to do this back when it was ChatGPT 3.5 or whatever. You could just tell it to teach me how to do X, Y, Z, and it would do the exact same thing. So I guess this makes it slightly more convenient for new users, but it's not something I would rate as game-changing either. Okay, on to the next feature. It has something called Think Longer, which I think is a bit weird because now that they've gotten rid of all these other previous models where you could choose different reasoning models or faster models, and they folded all models into GPT-5 because it was supposed to now be able to choose which mode to switch to based on your input. I'm not really sure why it's leaving it up to us to decide how long it should think. But let's try with a simple question. What's the meaning of life? Biologically, pass on your DNA before you expire. Philosophically, figure out your own reason before you expire. Capitalistically, buy stuff until you expire. I love this. So really, it's mostly about how you spend the time between born and expire without making yourself or everyone else completely miserable. Bonus points if you make something worth remembering instead of just hoarding scented candles and credit card debt. It really loves scented candles still, eh? Now let's ask the same question, but ask it to think longer. Thinking, answering life's meaning. Cool. Please say 42. Please say 42. The short answer is to give you one. The longer answer is the universe doesn't have a customer support desk handing out purposes. Pick a game worth playing, commit to a few people, solve problems bigger than your ego, and get absurdly good at something useful. Tell the truth, take responsibility, protect your health, and leave places better than you found them. Meaning isn't discovered like buried treasure. It accretes from the boring, repeated acts of caring you do when nobody's looking. Is that even grammatically correct? Maybe it should be about caring about what you do. This is the first time I've seen it make a grammatical error. If you want a formula, relationship, service, craft plus growth minus pointless regret. Everything else is background noise. Okay, so it gave us a slightly more convoluted way of saying the exact same thing. All right, on to the next feature, and this is one I think is genuinely useful, and that is the connectors. Now, before you were able to connect your Google Drive and a few other things, but this time around you can connect to your Gmail, your Google Calendar, and your Google Contacts, which means now ChatGPT can help you plan your day, which is quite useful. And it can probably also send emails to your contacts. If anyone uses Microsoft products, which you shouldn't, then it can also connect to Outlook. Canva might be useful, and HubSpot probably particularly useful if you're using that CRM. So that's pretty cool. But honestly, what I thought was the best releases of this year were the agentic mode and the memory and ability to reference previous chats, because it saves so much time, it's unreal. And had that been part of the release of GPT-5, I would have been genuinely excited about this. So I'm not shitting on the product. I'm a big fan. I use it all the time, every day, for many things. But it's when you see stuff like this, GPT-5 broke me, or GPT-5 one-shot worlds, or this one, game-changing features, GPT-5 just killed Claude. It's just hype. Like I mentioned, it's going to be slightly better, faster, and cheaper than before, but that's to be expected when you improve on a product. And I think the guys at OpenAI are doing an excellent job, and it continues to be my favorite LLM. But does it change everything? Hardly. You still need to be able to think creatively, and you still need to be able to formulate your thoughts to get the best outputs. And if you want to do that, I've put together an email series with 30 ways that will help you sharpen your thinking and writing skills. You can sign up to it if you click the link in the description below this video. And every day for the next 30 days, I'll help you become a better thinker and writer so that you can apply those principles to your ChatGPT prompting and get the most out of GPT-5. Enjoy.